4 weeks ago, we started restoring our timber windows on the first floor of the farmhouse. There is 10 of them in total, and the goal is to have them all stripped, fixed, painted with linseed oil paint, and retrofitted with double glazing by the end of October. So that we don't have to live in a house without any windows, we're splitting the work into 2 groups. 6 now, and then the last 4 next month. By the end of the week, we hope to have the first 2 or 3 windows ready for glazing. And since during all this painting, I've had a lot of time to think about our vision for the facade of the house, we'll share a little bit about that too.
Alright, that's 6 done. Normally I should have enough length in each of these sticks or beadings to make one long vertical piece and one horizontal. But because of all these knots, I think I need one extra just to be sure. So these should be enough to do 2 windows, well, 2 frames for 1 window. Yeah, it's quite some work making this beading. Normally, of course, you will buy beading in the shop, but since we are custom double glazing our windows, the measurements are quite awkward for a ready-made beading, and none of the ready-made stuff fits, so I have to make it myself. The advantage is, of course, that I can make it in such a way with the same curvature and the same little ridge as the style on the other side of the window, so they match up. Yeah.
Whenever we're out and about in the area, we look around us for architectural inspiration. Things we've been seeing often and that we like are soft color palettes. In our part of Italy, the architectural color palette is a little bit more muted than you'd perhaps expect from Italy. It's made up mostly of natural materials like stone, wood, and lime, with the occasional soft yellow, pink, or blue. Muted green shutters. Green is the traditional shutter color in the Langhe countryside. It's also the original color of our shutters at home, which is now hidden under a layer of murky rust brown. You see shutters in all sorts of green here, but our favorites are the olive and sage greens. Plastered borders around windows, often in a slightly contrasting color to the rest of the facade, are a very common feature here on both farms and village houses. We've puzzled all these bits together into this. It will take a while though before we get there, as there's a lot of facade to tackle and we'll have to split it up in phases. We hope to start on the shutters sometime this winter and/or the coming spring. Our current shutters are literally disintegrating, so we'll have to replace most of them, but we plan to reuse the old hardware. Then later we'll tackle the walls. On the old farmhouse, we'll take off what is left of the old whitewashed render and expose the natural stone. And the new farmhouse, which is built in hollow brick, will get a new layer of render or a lime wash in the same sandy color of the mortar that we'll use for the joints. We're thinking of using the plaster borders mostly on the new farmhouse to give it a little bit more visual interest. Our choices are, to a large extent, shaped by what we are allowed to do. Italy generally has fairly strict rules about exterior colors and finishes. Bigger towns usually have a leaflet with the few dozen allowed RAL color codes for plasterwork, exterior wood, metal elements, and so on. But our mountain village has less than a handful of color options for each of those things.
Well, this makeshift fence isn't working yet. It's slightly curved apparently, so the ends come a bit more forward, so it doesn't shoot in the middle of the piece, because it gets pushed away from the fence. Luckily, the fence that I ordered just arrived, so I can install that. Alright, that's done. These are the leftovers from the white boards that I used to make the strips of beading from, and I wasn't able to use these to make beading because the big router that I have is too wide for this narrow piece of wood, because it would tilt on top of it. But now that I've got the router fence in place, I can use that to make this into beading. That works splendidly. So I got this router fence. Normally you have to bolt it to the table, but since I built quite a wide table, it's really annoying to have to crawl under it and unbolt it when you want to take it off. So I saw this YouTube movie where somebody used bench dogs to slot it into the table from the top, and I copied that. So I could take it off and put it sideways so that I can feed the long beading sticks from this side, and then it will slide over the table that way. A nice feed out table. Yeah, let's do that. This is the last window that needs fixing up. Well, it's almost done fixing. For now, all the windows that needed a part replaced were the windows on the north side of the house. We are now doing 2/3 of the windows in this month, and we'll keep the last ones for next month. But those are all on the west side and on the south side. So I'm not expecting anything of wood rot to appear there. Yeah, so let's finish this one.